good evening, everyone. Welcome to Ask Vicky How. Today we have got someone very special to me. We have been friends for many years, for the longest time ever. His name is Chu Wei, and Mr. Chu is actually a lawyer in practice. And let me introduce, let Chu Wei introduce himself. Hi, Wei. Can you briefly
Hi,
introduce
Vicky.
yourself?
Thanks, Vicky, for having me. So, just for everyone's knowledge, I've known Vicky for the longest time. I also know her husband for the longest time as well. I believe.
That's the best introduction ever because people would be thinking that you're my husband.
But okay, there was a lightning in our poster, so that's why it focuses on divorce.
Yeah, okay. All right. My husband wouldn't be appropriate person to talk about divorce with me. Okay, right. Mr. Chu Wei is in practice for quite some time already, and he have done so much of divorce cases. So yeah, divorce cases is getting more and more common during this MCO period, especially during this MCO period. So, do you getting more businesses for divorce cases, Dway?
I would say that there has been a significant increase of divorce cases because of March last year in 2020 MCO, and then we have all the variations of MCO, CMCO, all those things. But yes, there's been an increase. We always try to tell people, try not to let's stay in the marriage But yes, there has been an increase. I agree.
Of course, we don't encourage anyone to get divorced. But if the marriage is really pulling you back, I think that is a solution needs to be done. Well, while we are talking about divorce and asset allocation, feel free to type in your questions below so that we can ask Mr. Chu Wei on the spot. Right. What is the common reason for a divorce? What is the common reason that is it money the biggest
common
factor
reason for
in your experience?
Let me put it this way. The more assets there are between the spouses, the more disputed the divorce is.
I see. Okay. So it's not because of no money, but because of too much of money. All right. So yeah, a lot of friends also told me those friends who get divorced. I mean, I am surrounded by people who are divorced. My mother is one of them. Alfred's parents, and many of my family members are divorced, and also a lot of people that I know divorced as well. A lot of people tell me that getting married is more complicated than getting a divorce, which is just signing a page of paper. Just not page of paper, I mean a stack of paper. And rather than, like marriage, you're going through a few steps like traditions and marriage and ceremonies, bachelor nights, banquet. I can understand why you are not there yet. And is that true that getting divorced is easier than getting married?
Actually, getting divorced is more cumbersome, more expensive than getting married, because getting married, let's not talk about the whole wedding ceremony, etc. If you want to register the marriage, it's a couple of hundred ringgit. That's it. Get a few witnesses, we go to the ROM, done, it's married. But if you want to have a divorce, then you need to have your lawyers, you need to go to court, you need to get all of it sorted out, and it's going to be a very complicated kind of divorce. You're looking at a couple of years with more legal fees, etc. So too expensive to get a divorce rather than to get married.
Is it a way that can get divorced easily?
Provided both parties agree to the terms of the divorce, then yes, you can go by a joint petition. But even then, you still need to engage a lawyer, and you would still need to go to court to say, judge, you agree to the terms of this you need to update your JP and on your status, and you would show that you are now
single. Okay, so
Oh no, it will show divorcee.
oh, divorcee, not single. Okay, all right.
It will show like dipisahkan whatsoever, but as opposed to not getting married to begin with, you will just show single lah.
I see. Right. Very important questions. Now, if the other parts, let's say my husband or wife, the other partners doesn't want to get divorced, and just one of them wanted to get divorced. Okay, just example, it's definitely not me. I know, it's weird that we are talking about this topic today. It's really weird that we are talking about this topic today. Dwayne, do you remember a few years ago when I first met you and introduced Alfred to you with my children, and you think that I'm coming to you for a divorce? Yeah. Okay, so just the questions. We are in good terms. Me and Alfred is very loving. Just for example, if one of us doesn't want to get divorced, the other one wants to get divorced. So is it still possible to get it done?
Yes, it's very much possible. But what this scenario you're looking at is what we call a single petition, i.e., one party wants it, the other party does not want a divorce. So if one party wants to initiate a single petition,
Okay.
then there are a few conditions. Number one, obviously your marriage needs to be more than 2 years. If not more than 2 years, then you need permission of court. Assuming that your marriage is more than 2 years, right, then you also need to go to a marriage tribunal, and then to tell so that the tribunal can give a certificate or a letter to say that the marriage cannot be salvaged. Only then you can then file your single petition, and your single petition is only premised on a few issues. Number one, it can be either adultery or unreasonable behavior by another spouse, or your spouse has left for more than 2 years old, amongst others. Then you file your single petition, then you go to court, and then you fight it out. It's like a full-blown trial already.
I see.
To answer your question, it's a yes and no. Yes, it can be done, but practically, if it can be resolved with everyone agreeing, it's great. But if not, then no choice.
I see. If that's the case, going to court, how long does this process gonna take? If going to court, to fight it out, how long can it be concluded? If
anything from you're looking at least about 2 years. I say 2 years simply because I factored in COVID.
Okay, if without COVID,
it should be about in a year.
okay, so it's definitely more troublesome than getting a marriage. My mom and dad actually had a divorce when I was 8 months old. So their marriage, I think, doesn't last for a year. So that's also the reason why I think there was a lengthy process. When I was 4 years old, my mom finally get a official divorce to divorce my dad. I still remember I was the one who walking towards my dad. That was my first time seeing my dad, and I was walking towards my dad and giving the divorce letter to my dad. That was the first time I seeing my dad and holding a divorce letter to him. And I didn't, of course, at a 4 years old girl, I was so cute. Of course, I didn't know what it was the content of the letter. But years later, only I discovered that it was a divorce letter. So it took about 4 years for my mom's case. But if let's say the couple, both of them couldn't afford a lawyer to fight it out and single petition, is it possible to get government support on this matter?
Your government support will be dependent on the means test. The means test, i.e., that if you go to a institution, i.e., your legal aid clinic, your
Okay.
legal aid would then say that, okay, let's look at your salary, etc., etc., etc. If you come within the means test, then yes, we can help. But if
I
it's not
see.
within the means test, then they can help. And the test is quite stringent. Yeah.
Okay. Can one lawyer act for both party if they want to save the cost? Like, buying houses, we always think that buying houses, we can save costs on legal fees. We shared lawyers, okay, which I don't advise to lah. Okay. Can both party share a lawyer?
Can. If it's a joint petition, both parties can then say, I want lawyer X to be the person to bridge everyone together, and lawyer X would be lawyer for both parties. Can. But for a single petition, no.
But if, let's say, the lawyers is acting for both parties, can this be done impartially based on your experience?
Obviously, no. Because when we have